Hey, Shawnee from SpeedCubeView.com. So let's go over Roux method. Now, I went through my month of Roux and some thoughts I had on that in the video in the description, so you can check that out for a little more of my thoughts on it. What I'm going to go through right now is just a solve, and then I'm going to go through each step again with some tips on it, and then I'm going to go over the pros and cons at the end. Now, this is just going to be kind of a shorter video. If you want a really in-depth tutorial, I'll put a link in the description to the website that I use to learn, which has a lot of great information. So first, I'm just going to use this scramble. So now what you want to do is make a 2x3 block on one side and then the other. So usually the left side and the right side is what a lot of people do, instead of just making a plus on like a wooden CFOP. After you do those two 2x3 blocks, you orient and permute the corners on the top, sometimes with just one algorithm, which is what you want to get to. Then you orient the last 6 edges and insert the left and right one and then the rest of them. So for example, if we're going to make a 2x3 block, actually it looks like the green one might be a little bit easier. Yeah, so here's the green center, or the green edge, I mean, and that's going to go over here. We've got the red and green corner and edge, and then the orange and green right here. So this is going to be really nice. Now for this, I can just move that edge over and move that red and green edge up. Now what's nice about Roux is you're not worried about the middle slice at all, so you can just do that to pair it up and insert. And then I'm going to move that other edge up. And this I can just kind of insert like normal. Then I've got the blue and white edge with these corners and this edge right here. So I am just going to actually insert that edge. I know this blue and orange one's right here, so I can just pair it up. And here's something really interesting. With CFOP, you either have to rotate the cube or insert this with a sledgehammer. But with this, you can just do a wide insertion like that, and it doesn't matter because you don't have any edge lined up here. And then we can finish up this blue and red one like normal. For orienting the top corners, there's a thing called CMLL. Sometimes I would orient them and permute them with COLL myself, but CMLL does not worry about the middle slice and is sometimes more efficient. Since I did not learn a bunch of those, I just did often a 2-look. So this would be a soon case. And then I would orient the corners as well, or permute them. And then I'm left with, after these corners are oriented and permuted, orienting the last edges. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 edges left. And this is a really easy case where all you have to do is just to orient them. Then we want to put the blue and green one in place. And so I'm first going to put them together and put them in place. And then the last thing would be to put the last edges in place like that. Now I did go kind of fast, and I'm going to go through the steps a lot more right now. So first, let's scramble this again. We're going to use a different scramble. Now this is probably the hardest part of Roux because there's so many options. You have so many choices of what you can do that sometimes that can really slow things down. Try to not, if you're learning Roux, try to not just get in the habit of putting the bottom pieces in and solving like CFOP F2L, because you are really limiting yourself to then what you can do and making things not very efficient. So let's do the blue 2x3 block. We've got the edge right here, and then we need the blue and orange, which is back here and here, and blue and red, and blue and red. So we've got some odd cases. What we can do is I'm going to flip this one and then pair up this bottom with this corner. And so the way I'm going to do that is just an F move to orient that, which I kind of learned in ZZ. And then all I have to do is an M2, and this is going to pair up with that corner. And so now I'm going to do a quick little D prime to move it out of the way so I can set that up, and then D2. I've got that 2 by 2 block. And then we want to do the blue and orange one, which we've got right here and over here. So I get those on the top face, and then just insert. So then we have the other side. And again, for this right now, I'm just going to kind of insert like normal. Here is some tricks that you want to start doing in Roux. You want to utilize the M slice. So for example, to get these paired up, you'll have to separate them, and then in CFOP turn the cube to insert them. But here I can just sort of move it out of the way, do a U2, and then bring it back up. And now I've paired that up, and I can just insert it. And then for this red and green, I just pair it up and insert it. Now, before we go on, there's a couple things that you really want to kind of realize. And that's that there's so many other ways of inserting when you don't have to worry about the other slices. So for example, this, you don't have to do a sledgehammer to insert it. You can just do a wide R move, and that puts that in. If you were just doing your first block, and let's say your blue and red edge is like this, you don't have to insert it like I just did with a wide move. You can just move it in. All you have to do is just an F move because you're not worried about anything else. And so it's really efficient with a lot of different ways of inserting pairs. So if you're learning Roux, do that slowly and try to find the best ways of going about it, and then you can speed it up later. So now we get on to orienting and permuting the corners. So you can learn CMLL and do them all in the same time, or you can just do a 2-look. And for this, when you have a case, like with the headlights, I just do that. And then here's an easy way to tell how they need to be permuted. It's really just looking at opposite colors. I've got red and orange opposite, and green and blue opposite, so I can tell all of these are going to be opposite, and I need to do something like a Y permutation, which would be if you see two opposite, but then two not opposite, you can tell that there's headlights somewhere. And you take whatever opposite and do an A permutation. Like that. So now what you have to do is orient the rest of the edges. And for this, put yellow or white on top, and then you'll always, always, always have an even amount of edges. So there's two here, and I can see right here that this is flipped the wrong way because I should not have white or yellow facing me. So 1, 2, 3, and I can know with the back one is going to be another one because it has to be an even number, and it is. Now, there's a lot of different algorithms you could do, and so for this case, it's just M prime U, M prime U, M prime U, M prime. But the big thing you want to do, and the one that can really solve everything, is just M prime, U, M. What that does is flip the front one with 3 more. A lot of cases where you have something like this, where you'll see 4 flipped and nothing on the bottom flipped, and you'll see a long algorithm, but really what it is just M prime U2, M U2, and then that same algorithm. Or if you have something like this, if you do that algorithm once, you're left with that again. So a lot of the algorithms are based off just that one simple set of moves. Next thing you want to do is insert the left and right edges. So this would be blue and green. Green's already in place. And so for this, I can just do a U permutation, which would be, and then the final thing is orienting these final edges. And there's a few algorithms for that. Now there's a couple little tricks, like I said, for the first block that when you're solving it, that you can just move it into place. For orienting, permuting the corners, looking at what opposite colors there are. For orienting the edges, there's always an even number of edges, so not having to look at that bottom corner because you can figure it out by those 5. And then also the final algorithms for inserting the edges. We're going to do one more solve together, and then if you have any other questions, you can leave that down in the comment section below or check out the site I link in the description. Okay, so what's nice about this right now is I can see that edge is already in place. So let's find the blue and orange corner, blue and orange edge, blue and red, blue and red. So what I'm going to do here is just pair up the blue and orange one because I can see that most easily. And then just insert it. Then I've got blue and red and blue and red. And now what I'm going to do, since I don't have to worry about anything else with the cube, is just pair it up like that. I don't have to do any reverse move. I just do an R prime, match that up. And then what's nice with this is, like I said before, I can just do an F prime to insert it. Don't have to do anything else. So green and white, and I'm just going to insert that and get that into place. Because I can see that green and red will be an easy insertion there. And now green and orange, I'm just going to move it out of the way, that edge, and then move it back to pair that up and insert. Then we have a soon case. And then here I can see opposite colors, but these are not. So I have to have headlights on the back, and I'm just going to do an A permutation. Next, I'm going to do the edges, and you can see right now that if I move this yellow and white on top, that those are all going to be solved. And often when I see that, I'm just going to move it on the bottom because that way I don't even have to worry about it. I can see I've got 2 unsolved edges here. So I'm just going to do M prime U M U2, and that leaves me with that case, M prime U M. Now, that blue and yellow edge is back here, and I can tell that because I can't see it anywhere else. And so what we're going to do is move this green and yellow edge opposite it and just do M prime U2 M, which puts it on the bottom, which makes it really easy to line up these edges and put them in. Now, that red and white edge needs to go down here. So, actually, before I do that, when I started, I would line it up and then solve this, but you'll start being able to see that right away. So I can insert this down here with M prime U2 M. Same thing with the orange and white. Just backwards, M U2 M prime. There we go. So, thank you very much. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Hit like, subscribe for more content like this in the future. And as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.